Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another product review. And today's product that we're going to be taking a look at is the XP22 Scorpion by Brinyte. And I think we can all see why it's called the Scorpion. Kind of looks like one, doesn't it? It's a dual head weapons mounted light. Now I have never seen anything like this before. Most of the time when you have weapons mounted lights, they have a single emitter. So is there an advantage to this? Are they both going to be aimed at the same location? I'm not sure if we're going to have any troubles with this. So this was sent to the channel for free for me to review. So we're going to try it out, and it's supposed to go on Picatinny rail. So I brought out one of my M4 clones. We're going to put it on that rail, see if it works, see how this thing performs, how it charges, and we're going to test out the light here in the garage. And I'll give you guys my thoughts, opinions, and experiences here and see if this is a product that you might be interested in. So let's go ahead and adjust the camera. Let's unbox this thing. Let's see what's in it, and then we'll see how this thing performs. All right, so here's the box this thing comes in. Seems to be pretty standard fare for a Chinese-made weapons-mounted light. The box is nice, lots of good graphics on it. It does say that this is made in China. I know some people are going to like that, some people are not. So let's just kind of open this thing up and see what we get. All right, so obviously there is the light itself. Looks like we have an attachment point for the Picatinny M1913 rail. Let's go ahead and see what's in the bottom of the box. We have, of course, a charger. Looks like it's a magnetic charger, very similar to that of Olight, and it goes right there on the front. Okay, so nothing crazy, different, or weird there. And so now let's take a look at the instruction manual, if there's anything else that comes in the box. Okay, so that's all we got in the box there. We have a please visit Brinyte.com for a warranty registration card. And we have the owner's manual, or the user manual as they call it. It says this only has 400 lumens on high. Now for having two different emitters, I'm kind of surprised about that, because you would think that collectively they would put out more light, and there's many options on the market that would be brighter, but who knows, maybe this thing is going to work really well because you do have those two different emitters. So let me go ahead and read through this. Let me attach it to the rifle because YouTube does not really like us attaching things to rifles on camera. I'll come back to you, report how it fits and what I discover about this particular light, and then we're going to try out how good the beam is, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts. All right, so here is the Brinyte XP22 Scorpion mounted to this AR-15, and I'm using a Knights Armament rail system here. It did go on the rail just fine. However, because of the shape of this light, you have to be very wary of other things that are on the rail or on the gun. It might not fit. So this is the only place I was really able to get it to run because of all of the dimensions of the rifle, the front sight post, and the fact that the lights, as you can see, they kind of go back in towards the rifle. So that's going to give you a very slim profile. So you're not going to have a lot of stuff sticking off the gun, but you have to make sure it's designed or is compatible with the type of rifle that you're going to run it on. So just handling it here on the workbench, it seems to work well. It seems to be well constructed. It's on the rail, nice and tight. It does have a lockout mode, which I learned because it started off in the lockout mode and I didn't know how to turn it on. I read the user manual. It wasn't always clear, but it looks like while it's on right now, I think if it's on the on position, if you hold the button down for 5 seconds, it's going to flash. There it goes. And now it is in lockout mode, so if you accidentally push the button, it won't come on. You do the same thing to get it off that lockout mode. Hold it down for 5 seconds. It should flash again. And now the light should come on and off. So you also have a temporary on-off, which is what that is. If you just hold it down for a certain length of time, you can control it that way. Or if you push the button one time, it will stay on. And if you push it twice, it will go to a strobe mode. So the controls are pretty simple. The one thing that I don't like about it is the lockout mode, simply because if you have stored this in lockout mode and you need to get that light on really fast, the fastest you can do it is going to be about 5 or 6 seconds. So I don't know if this necessarily needs that, but it is an option if that is something that you care about. It seems to have one setting, it's just on. There's no medium or low setting. So you don't get a lot of options when it comes to its brightness. But I have to say, its construction, the way it's built, if it fits on your rifle, I do like it. This button seems to be very well built. It's nice and strong. It does not seem flimsy at all. When I take a look at the emitters, the glass is pretty clean. I can see those emitters down in there. There's not really a lot of surface area in there, so maybe that's why they have the two illuminators. But I'm curious now, because we do have those two emitters, are the two lights going to line up, or am I going to get two hot spots? Well, let me adjust the lights here in the garage, and let's see how this thing works. All right, so the lights are off, and I have the camera pointed towards that little alcove you guys are used to seeing in the back of my garage. Let's turn this thing on. Let's see what it looks like. And there we go. All right, so both emitters are definitely pointed in the same direction. I'm not getting two different hotspots. I like the color of the light. It's a cool white. It's not super bright. I actually thought having two emitters, maybe they were both 400 lumens, that it would be a lot brighter than what it actually is, but it's not. I definitely have weapons lights that are a lot brighter than this. They seem to be working good. I don't feel a lot of heat coming from them. One of the downsides I can definitely tell based off of what I'm seeing here and this AR-15 is because I'm running a 14.5-inch barrel on this, we do get a little bit of shadow of the barrel, which is normal for a weapons mounted light, but because we have two different emitters, I actually see two different shadows. So I'm losing a lot of light in two different directions. Maybe you can see it kind of right there. So that's the shadow of the barrel going in two different directions. I'm just used to that only having one. So that is a big downside to this. I think this is definitely a cool concept, but it is not executed perfectly. It definitely works, and I guess depending on the type of rifle you're running, if you have a really short barrel or where you're mounting this light, you will not have that problem. Maybe those emitters need to be a little bit further away from the firearm, and that would reduce that shadow. But that to me is the biggest issue. So I wish this was a little bit brighter and didn't have that shadow issue and didn't have the mounting issue where you have to be a little bit careful of where you mount it. But it does work. It does seem to be good quality. So it might be the perfect light for you if you're not looking to blind someone with 2,000 lumens. But this 400 lumen light seems to work just fine. It does seem to be good quality, and the beams are pointed in the same direction. So that's what I'm discovering here. All right, so let me adjust the camera, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts. All right, so what are my final thoughts on the Brinyte XP22 Scorpion? Well, I have some positive things to say about it. It definitely is well built. It mounts to the Picatinny rail really solid. I do like the button. Something I wish it did have, of course, would be a pressure pad that you could mount elsewhere. So you're going to need to mount this where you can get a finger or a thumb on that switch. So that's going to limit your mounting options. Plus the design of it where those lights come down or closer towards the rail or the rifle, obviously is to reduce its footprint, but that could limit where you can mount it on your rifle depending on your front sight situation or other accessories you have on the firearm. And of course, depending on the barrel length, you might have multiple shadows. But the light does work. I do wish it was a little bit brighter, especially with two emitters. Imagine if you had 800 or 1,000 lumens on each one of those emitters. That would be really bright and I think really effective, and it would make some of the downsides to this a little bit more palatable. But it only being 400 lumens total, I'm a little bit disappointed in the output. But I think this is a really good idea, and of course, depending on your personal rifle and how you're using it, it could be really effective. I would hope that in the future they're going to come out with different models, ones that are more powerful and maybe have a pressure pad. But the concept I think is really good, and when it comes to its execution is okay as it currently sits. So on my star system, how would I rate the Brinyte XP22 Scorpion? Well, in concept, I really do give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's a great idea. It's low profile, it's well built, but when it comes to its execution and practicality, I think it really depends on what rifle you're going to mount it to and how you're going to mount it. So when I take that into consideration, I really can only give this thing about 3.5 stars out of 5. I definitely want it to be brighter. I want a pressure pad, and I wish it was designed a little bit different so you could mount different accessories to your rifle or mount it in different places. I can tell you with these lights mounted downward, I can't mount it further back on the rail if I wanted to. So it does limit where you can mount it, but you could mount it to the top, to the sides, to the bottom, depending on what you want. But once again, you have to get to that activation button. So that also plays into consideration with how you mount it and where you mount it. But it is a good product. I have no complaints with its construction, its fit, its function. I just want it to be brighter, have that pressure pad, and maybe have the lenses designed a little bit different so I can mount it different places on the rifle. But in concept, 5 out of 5 stars. But in practical use, 3.5 stars out of 5 for the issues that I mentioned. But I would recommend it to people that feel that this might be a good option for the type of gun that they are running. So I really have no complaints. I wouldn't say avoid it. It does work. It does what it says it's supposed to do. But there you go. That's my thoughts, opinions, and experiences with this. What do you guys think? Is this a cool product? Do you want one? I think it's just not as well executed as it could be, but in concept, this thing is awesome. So let me know what you think in the comment section below for the Brinyte XP22 Scorpion dual head weapons mounted light. So as always, thanks for watching.